Hi, everyone. It's Marianne Pageant here again with Meditation Millionaire. Thank you so much for joining us today. My guest for today is a lovely young lady from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, same place I'm from. And today she's going to tell us a very interesting story. As you all know, this is a show that we have for anyone who has overcome adversity and stepped into their greatness. So we always aim to inspire and empower. So with that, I'm going to ask Alexi Bracey to join us. Hi, Alexi. How are you today?
Well, I feel better now because you said that I have a young woman. So, what can I say?
Yes, of course you're a young woman, right?
That's right, exactly.
So Lexi is from Toronto, and she's going to. I'm just going to let her share. Sometimes I give a bio, sometimes I don't. I think I'm just going to let Lexi take it away. Go ahead, Lexi.
Okay, well, it was that phone call that you never want to get, and the voice at the other end said, "You have cancer. We want to book you for your surgery." And so, like, dead silence. And so, as I hung up the phone and I said thank you, I knew in my heart of hearts I was going to be there. I didn't know how, but I knew I was going to be there. And so, this was more than 20 years ago, so the availability of the internet was not as it is today. So I spent countless hours at bookstores and libraries researching all I could about cancer. I didn't know anything about cancer, nutrition, diet, like I was totally green in that department. And the few changes I made were very significant because without any medical intervention, drugs, or surgery, I was cancer free a year later. So, what did I do? I was living on the west coast of Canada at the time, and the raw food movement had come up from the California, and it was a really hot item. And when you're living in a climate where it's 40, 50 degrees in the wintertime, a cold bowl of soup is okay. But where I am now in Ontario, when it's minus 20, you don't want a cold bowl of soup. So back then, I switched my hats from a traditional chef hat to one of a raw food chef hat. And then when I moved back to Ontario, everybody said, "Raw food, what's raw food?" And so when I was explaining, people said, well, tell me more. So that started my career as a raw food chef. I'm sort of fine tuned it now when I say plant based. And so I started teaching classes, and the information, the knowledge that I researched and learned myself, I ended up teaching at the Holistic School of Nutrition, and I worked as a chef at spas, and I was helping people not just on their cancer journey, but on their health journey. And so it opened a whole new idea. I never would have thought in a million years that I would be teaching about health, cancer, when I was happy being a chef and catering and doing weddings and whatever. And then, life has its challenges. Through an unfortunate accident that was not my fault, my chef career came to an end. And so, okay, what am I going to do now? And I had gained a reputation for telling jokes to people. I would approach strangers at the dog park, at the grocery store, at the ATM machine, and I say, "Can I put a chuckle in your heart?" Why a chuckle? Because behind every face there is a story of tragedy, adversity, loss. And so for 2 minutes, I would have a captive audience. They would laugh out loud. It would feed my soul, but more importantly, it lowers the cortisol, the stress hormones, raises the endorphins, the feel good hormones in your brain, and laughter has been shown to promote longevity. But I didn't want to be a stand up comedian, so still, what am I going to do? But then when I learned that one of my key values was bringing joy, and I love to tell jokes and the happiness sort of component around joke telling, a program fell into my lap, Happy for No Reason facilitator training program, which I took. And so again, it opened a whole new dimension. So 25 years ago, I was a chef catering weddings, and hence now I'm a Happy for No Reason facilitator. So
Wow.
not even closely related, just sort of stepping stones. So you know, anybody that has some kind of adversity, there may not maybe there is a lesson there to be learned. It could be to change your diet, to be friendlier with your spouse, whatever. But it can lead to things that you have no idea. You may start a movement. You may write a book. You may become a world-class speaker. So, I just suggest that people embrace any adversity, any challenge with an opportunity for things to be manifested, open up down the way, because we just don't know what our life has in store for us. But it's been a great journey, I tell you. It's been a real learning experience, and I absolutely love what I do. And as a side thing, when I'm on my walks, um, still being a chef, or in my mind, I'm always a chef. I used to do a lot of gluten and dairy-free foods, and so I take these coconut macaroon and a white chocolate macaroon, and I put them in a little Ziploc bag, and I just hand them out to people on my walks with my dogs. Why? Because happiness in the tummy goes a long way. So I'm still doing the food a little bit.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. Are you able to give us the recipe for that?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's very easy. Like you don't bake it or anything. You just put it together and presto. Just refrigerate it, because there's the holding ingredient is coconut oil. So once you mix all your ingredients together, you want to solidify it, put it in the refrigerator. So yeah, piece of cake, so to speak.
Or a piece of macaroon. Can you give us the ingredients?
Yeah, actually, it's for the chocolate macaroons. It's coconut oil, cocoa powder, um, uh, coconut oil, coconut powder, coconut flakes, and maple syrup. And so you just mix the coconut oil that is melted with your coconut flakes and your coconut powder, and you add maple syrup to taste. I like to put it in the fridge for maybe half an hour, so it's sort of semi-solid, and then I just shape it into little bite-sized pieces, and then I just keep them refrigerated, and I sort of hand them out to people well, like I said, when I meet them. And the coconut cashew truffles is the same thing. You use your not Vitamix, your food processor, uh, coconuts, coconut oil, coconut flakes, maple syrup to taste. And then when you have this sort of like a paste, you refrigerate it because it's too difficult to maneuver. And then when it's sort of more pliable, I shape it into balls, and then I roll the balls into coconut flakes. And that's it. So no sugar, no dairy.
I was writing this down. Of course, yeah, there's no sugar because you have the maple syrup, which
Yeah.
of course is like a gajillion times more.
Yeah, no gluten, no dairy. So I mean, how healthy can you get?
And so you make these, and then you take them to the park with you, or to the dog park, and then you hand it out to the humans.
Just to strangers, people walking along.
Can you come down to my park? So I'm on the west side of Toronto, and I think you're closer to the east side, right?
No, actually, I'm in the West End too.
Oh, that's right. You're in Etobicoke, and I'm in Mississauga. That's not really that far.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so for local people, they know where this is. For non-local people, we probably live like 15 minutes away from each other. Yeah, come down to Jack Darling Park. That's where I was walking. So yes, I'm doing something a little cuckoo crazy these days. A little cuckoo crazy because it's not that easy. And I thought it would be okay. I'm doing something called 75 Hard, which some of the guys and younger ladies and younger people than me in my group are killing it with all kinds of crazy workouts. But it's okay, you can just do walks. So with 75 Hard, you have to do 2 exercises a day, and they each have to be 45 minutes. And so one has to be outside, which works well because I too have a dog. So I'm outside anyways. But now I'm timing myself, and I have to do it for 45 minutes. So it's like weird. And not always that easy when it's raining outside, but you still have to get it done, rain or sleet or snow or anything. So,
so 45 minutes twice a day?
Twice a day. So
wow.
You can do 2 outside ones, which I sometimes do if I feel energetic enough and I've got time to do, but they have to be 3 hours apart. So that's the other issue, is you can't flow them together. You can't put I can't do an hour and a half walking. It's
right. Yeah.
You do an hour and a half altogether if you want to go twice. But I usually do yoga and some stretching because I'm 61 and my hips need it, my lower back needs it. There's some, I'm not in my 20s or 30s like some of these guys are, and it's actually pretty good, and it kind of keeps you disciplined. It's a little bit of a mind game. I think it's more of a mind disciplinary thing than it is a physical, because you could walk. Now, I'm lucky. I live in a condo. I could walk around the condo. I actually have a lot of people that do that when it's raining and whatever. They just walk indoors because our condo is so long that there's so much to walk. You could easily get your 10,000 steps in, no problem.
Or you can do the stairs.
Or you can do the stairs if your knees are okay.
Right.
So I recently learned that going upstairs is good and it strengthens your knee, but going downstairs actually weakens it and it's not so good for you. So I've stopped doing that because I used to do the up and down. So it was interesting. So yeah, I don't know if you're at liberty to tell us what happened that you're no longer a chef.
I was in an accident that was not my fault, a car accident. I was hit head on, totaled my car, and I remember distinctly the whiplash. My head started going back and forth, and they wanted to take me to the hospital, but I had my two dogs with me, and I wasn't in pain. It was just like the whiplash, but it did affect my balance. And a week later, I fell and I broke my femur.
Oh, that's not good.
And because I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks, I lost a lot of muscle mass, because I had been an active chef all along. And so I thought, okay, well, the universe is trying to tell me that I should be doing something different.
Eek.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
to move on, right?
that's right, exactly.
That's good that you can listen to the universe, because as we know, a lot of people don't. And sometimes it'll repeat itself over and over and over again until we understand, hey, it's time to move on now. I think at my last job, which was my very last job before I went completely solo on my own, although we were contractors, so we were kind of working for ourselves anyways. It was kind of half and half. You could kind of do whatever you wanted to, but she wouldn't let us work from home. So I was like, oh, okay. And then COVID came, and guess what? We were all working from home.
Hmm.
And then I kind of decided to change my job then. But yeah, it's so much better when you can follow your dreams and understand. So that's great. So have you recovered fully from that
Oh, yeah, I
accident?
mean, I can walk and everything. I don't use a cane or anything. I'm just, a little nervous when it's icy and that. But, I do exercise specifically for my balance,
Mm-hmm.
just to maintain that. And then, hip exercises and, strengthening my upper legs and strengthening my upper body, same thing. Just to be, agile. So, I mean, I don't want to be standing on a step stool and bringing down 50 pounds of flour from the top shelf somewhere in a kitchen. So, I wasn't going to do that anymore.
Yeah, no, that's great. Just so you know, I get nervous too. And I didn't have a car accident. I get nervous on ice as well because I have fallen, and I have a dog that's very high energy. And when he pulls the leash, you don't really know it's coming. And even though he's a little dog, it still kind of throws you off, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So if I could just suggest, sort of as a sideline, some a really good exercise for your balance is just to stand with your 2 feet apart, raise your one leg and bend it at the knee, and hold it for as long as you can, just without holding on to anything, just with one knee bent. Then repeat and do the other leg, and then do it again, but with your eyes closed.
Oh, that's
And
great.
I tell you, the eyes closed part of it is challenging. So, work your way up to 15, 30 seconds a minute. And I guarantee you, if you do it every day for 1 week, you will notice a significant improvement from day 1 to day 5. It may only be 5 seconds, but hey, 5 seconds is still better than nothing. And of course, with your eyes closed is the most challenging.
Yeah, that's a good one. I used to teach that one when I taught yoga for quite a few years. I think my balance was much better when I was teaching yoga. I was teaching like 14 classes a week. So I had the opportunity to do that one at least 14 times a week.
Well, when hot yoga was first introduced some years ago, I was really gung ho on it. I went to hot yoga classes every single day. I did not miss a day for 3 years.
Wow, that's
And it
amazing.
really changed the contour of my body, I have to say,
Mhm.
very much so.
It
And
just strengthens you from the inside, right? Like the
yeah,
inside of the body, still physical on a physical level, but also good for the mind, right? So
oh, without a doubt. Yeah,
I love
very much so.
yoga.
Yeah,
Yoga's the best. It's the best. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay.
sure.
Um, Tell me what success means for you.
Doing what gives you meaning and purpose, what you're really passionate about. People think that if they're successful and they achieve the monetary, the car, the job, uh, the cottage, they're going to be happy. No, it's the other way around. You're happy first, then you're successful. So, if you're doing something that really gives you meaning and purpose, whether it's teaching, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, whether you're a nurse, if that's what your calling is, you're going to be happy because you're making an impact and making a difference in people's lives. And it gives you that personal self satisfaction. So that's to me success. I have 4 pets. I have 2 dogs, two cats, and I'm a successful pet owner because my pets are all happy. They're healthy, and my cats talk to me. They meow back and forth, and I take my dogs on 2, 3 walks every day. And that I'm a successful pet owner, and I can prove it because people will say to me, pet my dogs, and they go, "Oh, your dogs are so beautiful," and I say, "Yeah, it runs in the family," just to put a joke on their heart, but by the same token, they're giving me a compliment.
I love it.
So there's different ways. Like I'm for me, my success is to share with people laughter or kindness or or gratitude, because I have a gift for that, and it just sort of lightens people up. But whatever it is, everybody has that thing. It's just to find it, because at the end of the day, when you're being lowered in the grave, what are people going to say about you? Are they going to say you were a good mom or a good dad? Which there's nothing wrong with that. But leave your mark about something that gave you meaning and purpose, and people saw that in you.
I love that. That's perfect.
I was at a workshop. I took a week-long workshop many years ago, and we had to physically go to a cemetery and find a name of a person on the tombstone that sort of identified with you. Maybe you found your last name if it was Smith or something like that. And we had to physically lay down on the ground and pretend we were being lowered in the ground. And what were people saying to you about you? It
Wow,
really, it really made you think, I tell you.
that's an interesting exercise. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's always important to see what you want to be known
that's
for.
right.
What do you
And you never know. And maybe you're going to be that grandmother that um, took your granddaughter to cooking classes, and she became a world class baker. Whatever it is, whatever gives you meaning and purpose, because you were instrumental in shaping or changing or influencing somebody's life or something similar to that.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So tell me what your favorite dream that you had that you achieved.
Um, I don't know. For me, right now is the Happy for No Reason training program, because I had heard about it, but it didn't really resonate with me. And then when I found out that one of my key values was to bring joy, and the fact that I like to tell jokes, I thought, well, maybe I'll apply for the program. This is 9:30 in the evening. The registrations to be accepted into the or to apply for the program closes at midnight. I am applying at 9:30. This is a last minute decision. I get a phone call the next morning at 10 o'clock. Out of 2,800 people who applied, they only had room for 250, and I was one of them.
That's meant to be, right?
That's right, absolutely meant to be. And I mean, and I knew we had to do written exams and videos and everything at the very end. I knew I was going to be one of the first ones to complete, and I was one of the first 14. I don't know in what order, but I was determined I was going to do it because I just so enjoyed it.
That's beautiful. I love it. Okay, so I have another interesting question for you. If you could choose any 5 people, whether they're dead or alive or famous or otherwise, and you could spend an hour, you could just sit down and have a conversation, like a coffee and a conversation with them. Which 5 people would that be?
So I pick five, and so I just pick five, right? Okay, I pick five. I pick five. Can I name five, and I sit down with one, or I just sit down
No,
with one?
no, you're going to sit down with each one. So which
Oh,
five?
with each one, with each
Each
one.
one for an hour. Sorry.
Okay, I would pick um, David Hawkins because he's very big on the happiness spectrum. Because he says when we vibrate at a higher frequency, it improves your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. So, like the Dalai Lama and Jesus vibrated at 1,000. Um, Joy is at 600. People that are in war or angry or in turmoil vibrate at 200 or 300. And because we're energy frequencies, I would like to speak to him how he came to that arrival and how he managed to achieve it or maintain it. The other person I would like to speak to, and I can't pronounce his name, is Thot Nhat Hanh, the famous Buddhist monk that died a couple of years ago, because he came from such a beautiful, loving space and such wisdom. Um, just a peace, not a peace pilgrim, because he stayed in his own country, but he impacted so many people. And when he died a couple of years ago, the government in Thailand raised their restrictions on COVID because they had thousands of people coming in from all over the world to pay homage at his funeral. So I didn't really learn about him till later on in life, but his one sentence quotes or his poetry or whatever really has really impacted me. Another person that really has impacted me is Brother Stendhal Rast, who is a Benedictine monk who was given dispensation by the Vatican to study with the Buddhist monks. And he comes from a place of gratitude and happiness. And he's got some beautiful teachings and a really lovely video of just beautiful nature and people walking in nature and natives. And he says, and when you are grateful, it has been a beautiful day. So, because to me, gratitude is so important. So that's three. Number four. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Um, oh dear. Oh, I know. Greg Braden, because I'm taking his wisdom codes right now. And he's another wise guy. Just nuggets of how you accept beauty in the world. It's the beauty I live by, the beauty I live with, the beauty that surrounds me. So he just comes from that nice, beautiful, harmonious space, and he talks again about the frequencies that we get from our thoughts, from our interactions. I mean, everything is energy. And the other one I really like too is, well, this is a tough one. Sadhvi, uh, her name is Sadhvi. She lives in India, and she has weekly messages. And came from an affluent American family, got her MA. Her father was a lawyer, and she gave it all up at age 25 and went to India to become whatever these people in India become, like sages or whatever. And she has these beautiful following and teachings every week and every day along the Ganges River, and just words of wisdom. And she's only like 50 years old. She's been there for 25 years. And so I really would like to probably talk to her, because I like to maybe put my feet on the Ganges River and hear some nuggets from her.
right? Yeah, those are all very strong, powerful people. And I know most of them. I don't know this last young lady. I don't think I've heard of her, or maybe I have and I forgot.
Yeah.
Um, Greg Braden's one of my favorites for sure. And I
Oh,
love
yeah.
listening to him. Actually, he just said something the other day that I was listening to one of his videos on YouTube. He was talking about love and how love, we always think love is the highest frequency, which of course it's a very high and powerful frequency and very healing and so on and so forth. And then he said, actually, authenticity is even more powerful. And
Mm.
it vibrates the highest, even higher than love. So that was amazing because I always strive for authenticity. In fact, people will make fun of me and go, "Oh, here comes Miss Authenticity."
And this is Bruce Lipton.
No, this is. Did I say Bruce? I thought I said Greg Braden.
Oh, okay, Brett. Okay, yeah,
But
Greg
Bruce
Braden. Okay,
is,
all
of
right,
course,
yeah,
his buddy. So they
yeah,
do.
and same thing. He's got a really interesting background. He's very much of the scientist, and and now he's combining the history of science with how the brain works.
Mhm.
So he's sort of shifted, progressed, not progressed, evolved along the way.
Right.
Found his calling for sure.
I've actually had the pleasure of seeing them both live.
Oh wow.
Way back when we had You Can Do It, I think it's called,
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
with the Hay House when they were traveling.
All right. Okay.
And they were in Toronto a few times at the convention center, and I went each time. So I had the opportunity to see a number of my favorites, like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, Marianne Williamson, who is probably my most favorite, Carolyn Mace. I mean, there's so many. There's so
Oh
many.
yeah, I could have thought of them too. So there's just so many.
There's
Exactly,
so
just so
many
many.
you can't. And I like to ask these, when we're here doing the show, because if you have it all constructed, you might also still forget someone. But I love that. It's one of my favorite questions. So I have one more, and then that'll sort of complete our journey here.
Okay.
um, what would you say to your 20-year-old self right now?
Believe in yourself and do what you really want to do. Don't
Nice.
don't do it because it's convenient or you can't afford it or your mother tells you so. Really follow what your passion is and what you really want to do.
That's beautiful. I love that. I think a number of us would like to say that. I always say love yourself because nobody else will say it too. There's families that they just don't say that, right? And my family wouldn't say love yourself, like my parents were immigrants, like
Well, same thing here. You never said things like that. Like
it just wasn't said. Whereas now I say it to everyone all the time, which is great. Yeah. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much, Alexi. So
oh, my pleasure. Wow.
here you go, everyone. Cancer to freedom. Had an accident, moved on. Like, it's just, there's no reason to suffer in life. Just let's move along, become water, and just flow, right?
That's right. That's right.
Anyways, thank you so much, Alexi, for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I'm just going to throw down a couple of commercials before we finish, and that'll be it for our show. Thank you once again for joining Meditation Millionaire, and have yourself a beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste, everyone.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.